And I was sent all the way to the Persian Gulf, where I served the sailors and Marines that were policing Saddam Hussein after the first Gulf War, before the second one. Those no-fly zones that we were policing, all of that, and the Marine interdiction. So I got to see what operational military looks like when it's operating. And I also got to see what kind of strain that was on our soldiers and sailors and Marines and their families back home. So I have a really good understanding of that. And I think that's really important these days. After the Navy, I did big law firm work. I was a labor attorney. I developed expertise in what's going on in our workplace, which I think is something really important to know. And then after that, I was recruited to a job here in Florida for a big energy company that is the biggest producer of clean and renewable energy in the country. So I got to know something about solar infrastructure and transmission and wholesale electrical sales, and this is really cool because that's an important thing to know as well. So let's recap. I have foreign policy experience, especially in the Middle East. I have military experience, I know labor law, I know corporate law, and I know energy law. Anybody else think I'm qualified for this job? So I want to talk a little bit about a couple issues that I think are really fundamental, and people ask me, what are your key issues, what's your platform? I tell them that there's three issues that I talk about the most often, and there are a few of them that I'm going to talk about today. Number one, I'm going to talk about gun control. And I don't know, I know that people tell me everybody up in the north likes guns and whatever. I was like, hey, even people who are gun owners believe that there are reasonable limits to what kind of guns people have. The problem is, I think reasonable people can agree on that. In fact, the other day I was in Davie and I was talking to a guy who was a hardcore Trump supporter, and we were trying to find common ground. This is what I did. I said to him, okay, well, do you think that every civilian should have a nuclear warhead? And he said, no. I said, okay, how about a howitzer? He said, no. I said, how about a grenade launcher? He said, no. I said, okay, then we agree. There is a limit. All we're quibbling about is where that limit is, right? So the first thing I did was find areas of agreement. But what I said is this. My frustration is that the NRA's role in our politics now has stopped being about representing gun owners. It is about representing gun manufacturers. And so their sole mission and purpose is to maximize gun sales. That's their entire purpose. So they have gotten their tentacles so deeply into our politics, it's almost impossible to get anything done in Congress. But my thing is this, if we can't get anything done in Congress, is there some other way to deal with this problem? I think so. One of the things that I think is that we could use the combined buying power of the United States military, the buying power of all of the municipal and local and state law enforcement agencies, and just tell them that we decide no longer to buy weapons from any manufacturer that sells AR-15s for civilian purposes. Now, is that going to get rid of all the AR-15s out there? Probably not, but it's certainly going to reduce the availability dramatically, and you know what happens when the supply goes down, the cost goes up, and that may reduce the number of people who buy AR-15s. The beautiful thing about that is it doesn't require Congress, and it doesn't trespass on the Second Amendment. It is a supply-side solution instead of a demand-side solution. And we are always focused on the demand side because that's what the NRA wants us to be. Why does the NRA always want us on the demand side? Because that's the side that has the Second Amendment. That Second Amendment right to bear arms doesn't say anything about the right to manufacture arms, or the right to sell arms, or the right to transfer arms. You don't have a constitutional right to be a gun manufacturer. Okay. That's under the Commerce Clause of the Constitution. And the Commerce Clause says that the government can regulate all aspects of interstate commerce. So why don't we focus on that side? That's one idea. The other idea I have is this. I have to have an insurance policy on my car because there's a chance that I could kill somebody or damage your property. So I have to have liability insurance on my car. Why do we not have to have liability insurance on guns? All I'm saying is if you are a responsible gun owner who takes care of your gun, who goes to the shooting range to make sure that you can hit what you're actually shooting at, if you keep it locked up, then your gun insurance will be very small. That would make sense. And if you want to have an AR-15 and high-powered rifles that can gets a mile down the road, then your insurance might be very, very high, like $25,000 a year. Now, if that becomes prohibitively expensive for you, oh well, not everybody can have a Maserati either. They're expensive. Okay? I'm not saying that you can't have a weapon to defend yourself, but I'm saying that when your weapon starts to get out of the defense side and starts getting into the offense side, your insurance and your liability should go up. I think that's reasonable. And I would love the idea of the insurance companies taking on the NRA. Wouldn't that be fun? The second thing I like to talk about, which I think is really important, is to talk about healthcare. And I don't want to talk about it from the side of the ACA, because we talk about that a lot, and okay. I want to talk about it from this other side, because what has happened in our politics is we've gotten bogged down in debating who should be paying our insurance. What we're not talking about is how much we're paying for health care. And this is what bothers me. We in this country pay more for the same medications as our neighbors to the north in Canada, our neighbors to the south in Mexico, our neighbors to the east and the west. For some reason, we allow pharmaceutical companies to charge us more for the same stuff. My question is very simple. Why? Why? Because they can. So, let's get some economics 101A. We are a capitalistic country, and I am a capitalist. I'm not a Democrat, socialist, whatever. I'm a capitalist. I believe in capitalism. However, there ought to be some limitations when it comes to healthcare. The reason I say so is because the healthcare consumption market is very different than the market for sneakers or cars. I can always choose not to buy Nikes at the top of the market and instead choose Payless shoe sorts. I could always choose for the sneakers to go on sale. I can wear this last year's shoes for 2 more years. These are choices that I can make. Same thing with the car market. If I don't want a BMW, I can get a Kia. That's cool. Or a used car, right? I could not use a car at all. I could decide to take public transportation or ride a bike. These are choices I have. But you don't have choices when it comes to the consumption of health care. You are not going to wait for that IV to go on sale while you're in the hospital, right? Half the time you don't even know what you're consuming in healthcare treatment and medication and so forth, because you're out. You're not in any kind of bargaining position. You have no idea what you're going to be billed until you get it, right? And then you get shockers, like thinking that you went to a hospital that's in your network, but the anesthesiologist for some reason was out of network, and so now you are paying $10,000 extra because you used an out-of-network provider. That's the problem that people with insurance have. God help the people without insurance. So my question is, why? Why do we allow this? Every market in this country is a fabrication of the consumers. We make the market. We police it, we govern it, we order it, and it is designed to allow people to have access to our consumptive base, meaning access to our money. We can choose to say, you know what, if you want to play in this 350 million consumers market, there's certain things you're going to have to do, like treat us decent. We could do that. And we don't have to expand it to everything under the sun. Healthcare, like I said, is a very unique kind of market. So I take one example, just one example of something that we could change overnight if we chose to. Y'all know who Martin Shkreli is. He's this jerk who bought this hedge fund that bought this AIDS medication, right? And the medication was already making good money, so it wasn't not making a profit. But he said, hey, I can make more profit because the people on this medication need it so bad to stay alive, they'll pay whatever I demand. So he jacks up the price of that medication by 900%. And the people on the medication don't have the choice of saying no, because it's life-saving medication. Now, my thinking of that is, why do we not do that? Because the only value to that medication is that it cannot currently be duplicated or copied because it's under a patent, right? Who enforces that patent? We do. The patent court is paid for by the people. Those tax enforcement laws are written by the people. So, I say something very simple. How about we put an unconscionable actionability barrier in that law. That if you have a patent and you use it in a way that is patently harmful to Americans to your own benefit, then we'll just stop enforcing the patent and we'll allow Walmart or whatever to duplicate your medication and undercut you by 90%. That might change you from bludgeoning Americans about the head and neck with your profits, right? That might change your behavior if you knew that you risked losing the patent if you used it that way. That's a simple thing we could do. That's a simple thing. My question is, why am I the only one that talks about this? We got a lot of people in Washington, D.C. Surely they were aware of what Martin Shkreli was up to. I'm not the only one with the law degree. Why are they not asking about this? Why are they not chiming in on this?
They don't care.
Oh, you said it, I did not.